Raúl Gallegos, Crude Nation, How Oil Riches Ruined Venezuela. Immerse yourself in the astounding world of Venezuela's eccentric economy as the book A Crude Nation, How Oil Riches Ruined Venezuela by Raúl Gallegos unfolds the dizzying reality of a petrostate gone haywire. Discover the extraordinary economic scenarios fueled by oil wealth, currency controls, and import restrictions, evolving into a truly bizarre market that makes Venezuela an exceptionally peculiar nation. Explore the peculiarities of absurdly cheap fuel, extravagant spending habits, and distorted currency dynamics that ultimately led this oil-rich nation into an economic abyss.
Venezuela's paradoxical economy. Venezuela's oil wealth and economic woes have created a unique financial landscape where second-hand cars are a savings account and breast implants are a bank loan. In the United States, the average consumer may not have heard much about Venezuela beyond the fact that their gas comes from this South American oil producer. However, behind the scenes lies a nation with a complicated economy that is highly dependent on its petroleum exports. The state-owned Citgo Petroleum Corporation is a well-known brand, but citizens struggle to find basic consumer staples like milk, toilet paper, or tampons in the nation's capital, Caracas. Due to strict currency controls and import restrictions, Venezuela has a financial market that operates in a bizarre way. New cars are scarce and expensive while used cars are more costly than in the United States. Yet, buying an old car can be a savvy move. Cars have become a savings account on wheels and a hedge against inflation and the constant weakening of the currency against the dollar. In this environment, it's no surprise that banks are willing to make personal loans to low-income borrowers for extravagances such as breast implants for teenage girls. The desire to live like the middle class is strong among the poor, resulting in shantytowns full of DirecTV satellite dishes. Despite the oddities of the economy, gas prices remain absurdly cheap thanks to state subsidies. The super-rich indulge in luxury items while the majority of Venezuelans stand in long lines, turn to the black market, or even steal basic necessities. Venezuela is a nation whose oil wealth has not translated into economic common sense. The result has been catastrophic, making it a fascinating case study of a paradoxical economy. The quirky world of Venezuelan currency. Venezuela's currency controls allow citizens the option to purchase goods and amenities at one of three official exchange rates or through an off-market rate. The result is a perplexing system where the price of goods varies drastically based on the exchange rate used. For example, a hotel room in Caracas Marriott would cost $1,503 at the highest rate, $789 at the second highest rate, and $190 at the third-tier rate. However, the fourth option, exchanging dollars for bolivars with a black market currency trader, could bring the price down to as low as $53. Expats paid in dollars could live luxuriously in Caracas, while a Big Mac would cost just $1.50, a can of Coke would cost 29 cents, and renting a car and driver would cost $50 a day. On the other hand, Venezuela's locals earning in bolivars face a daunting financial reality. They might pay $6,667 for a flat-screen TV, more than an average annual salary, and an iPhone 6 would cost a staggering $17,000. Currency speculation in Venezuela. Navigating Venezuela's surreal economy is a challenging feat that requires the services of a black market currency dealer. The socialist regime sees currency speculators as enemies of the state, so the practice of buying and selling dollars moved underground. Despite bringing in $100 billion a year in oil sales, Venezuela's economy is plagued by a rapidly depreciating bolivar, which has created a perverse incentive for doctors and lawyers to trade currency instead of focusing on their professions. In May 2015, the black market price of a dollar was 400 bolivars, soaring to 1,200 bolivars by March 2016, causing the value of Venezuela's 100 bolivar note to plummet from 55 cents to just 8 cents. In this environment, author Francisco Toro met with an illicit money dealer who saved him over $2,900 on his 3-week stay by using a subterfuge to cover his tracks and exchange currency. The book delivers a scathing critique of the country's history of dictatorship, corruption, coups, and economic dysfunction. Venezuela's currency woes. The Venezuelan government has imposed restrictions on the sale of foreign currency by foreign companies operating in the country, leading to the closure of factories and a collapse of the bolivar. Despite forbidding websites from posting any details on the currency trade, websites like dolatoday.com continue to publish black market prices. In 2013, Maduro even sued dolatoday.com claiming they were responsible for the bolivar's collapse. Despite its currency policies resulting in disastrous consequences, the Venezuelan government continues to pursue them. Venezuela's inflationary spiral. Venezuela's economy is in a state of chaos due to its irrational fiscal policies and inflationary spiral. Foreign corporations are taking advantage of Venezuela's inflated exchange rate, leading to unrealistic revenue figures. As the value of the bolivar declines, Venezuelans are struggling to make ends meet as their purchasing power decreases rapidly. The government lacks transparency and blames retailers for the chronic shortages of goods. Despite these issues, Venezuelans pay for large purchases with credit cards, hoping to take advantage of a 20% discount due to inflation. The country's gas remains the cheapest in the world, but the feelings generated by the low price are short-lived. The economy's chaos has shaped the spending habits, political beliefs and tastes of generations of Venezuelans. Venezuela's dire shortages. Venezuela is undergoing dire shortages of essential consumer products ranging from laundry detergent to condoms and toilet paper. Hotels such as the Marriott Renaissance secure toiletries by working with multiple suppliers, while Venezuelan citizens struggle to find even the most basic products. The country's government attempts to reframe these scarcities as signs of successful socialism, and economists attribute the shortages to currency policies and corruption that make it difficult for manufacturers to produce at a profit. Venezuelans wait for hours in lines only to find poorly stocked stores with empty shelves, causing missed workdays and long search times for basic necessities. Venezuela's boom and bust economy. With the discovery of oil in 1914, Venezuela's economy was transformed from being poor and undeveloped into Latin America's wealthiest nation. By the 1960s, it became an international symbol of capitalism, but with the oil price boom of 1973, Venezuela was unprepared for too much of a good thing. The subsequent oil bust of the 1980s, coupled with a banking crisis in the early 1990s, inflicted significant damage on the country's economy. Today, Venezuela serves as a painful moral lesson for the world. Despite high living costs and rock-bottom taxes, the nation is mired in economic hardship. Hugo Chávez's economic legacy. In 1998, Hugo Chávez became the president of Venezuela and identified a striking issue: how could 80% of the nation's populace live in poverty while oil reserves abounded? To address this disparity, Chávez implemented a socialist agenda, including nationalizing private industries and initiating the distribution of social welfare benefits. This led to an equitable society, but once oil prices plummeted following his death, the flaws in his economic plan were exposed. His policies caused a decline in Venezuelan oil production and a damaged business climate, contributing to an increase in poverty rates. Venezuela's oil troubles. Nicolás Maduro, successor to Chávez and current president of Venezuela, initiated the country's first petrol price increase in decades during an economic crisis. Despite adopting the slogan "Energy for the People," the hike was small, resulting in a 6,000% price boost. However, a gallon of gas remains cheap, costing only 2 cents at black market prices. Venezuela's dependency on oil is skewing its politics and economics, and the country must face the consequences of this system to establish a stable and democratic future.
As you emerge from the whirlwind journey through Venezuela's astonishing economic landscape, it is evident that the curse of oil wealth has caused a plethora of troubles for the country. The unsustainable dependence on oil revenue, coupled with a lack of foresight and common economic sense, has led to the nation's catastrophic economic downfall. The book Crude Nation not only uncovers the many facades of Venezuela's bewildering economy, but also serves as a poignant warning for other resource-rich nations against replicating the same devastating mistakes. Venezuela must seize the opportunity to re-evaluate and reform its duplicitous economic systems for a more stable, secure, and democratic future.